What is going on, Sky Squad? We are in the building on this good. What is this? Is this Tuesday? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't even. My mind, man, my mind. Y'all listen. What in the world is going on down in the streets, in these reality TV streets? We are here to talk about it. Y'all see, I am in. Y'all see, I'm finally in my new studio. We have not painted it yet, but we getting there, right? One day at a time, baby. One day at a time. So I told y'all I was gonna start trying to go live each day versus just doing like video content. And I did wake up a little late today. By the time I woke up, I realized that the Carlos King Reality with the King podcast, the live stop here in DC, finally aired. So I really wasn't able to talk a lot about it when we first, when it first happened. But now we can finally get down to the tea of it all. For those of you guys who were in the audience, you already know what went down that day, baby. And we're going to be talking about Simon and Porsha, okay? There's something that Simon posted yesterday that has a lot of people talking and a lot of people wondering. I think we can clear it up, but we gotta like take a look see at what's really going on first. All right. So as you guys are coming down into the room, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, and also let us know where you guys are watching from in the chatterization. Okay, let us know where you guys are watching from so we can shout out a couple of people when we need to. All right, I see y'all. Good morning in the chat. Good morning in the chat. We'll try to do a couple more shout outs towards the end of the video. All right. So look, let's start. I was going to start things off with the podcast, but I actually think I want to start things off with Simon. Okay. So the first thing that I saw I think I saw it last night, right? And I was like, Papa, who is this man on Simon's page, right? Because it just happened to pop up or whatever like that, Hey to my people in the chatterization. Hey to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Yes, we watching from all over the place. Come on, Richmond, Virginia, Hayward, California, Oakland, Houston, Raleigh. What's going on? What's going on to my people? All right, so look, I said, Harpo, who this man right here? So it's basically, I'm not going to turn on the volume because they're playing music from what was an event, right? So this guy apparently had tagged Simon and Porsha from last Memorial Day weekend. Okay. Note, guys, this is last Memorial Day weekend. And we'll talk about, Simon's post in just 1 second. But basically, it's a party. It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. Hey, right? And they are down to the Costa Rica, baby, and they are being thanked for, Simon and Portia's hospitality. Look at it. I mean, in times of yore, you know what I'm saying? In times of yore, in marriages past, this was what was going on in last Memorial Day weekend. Has it just been a year, y'all? Has it just been a year? Okay. So we have all of this. There's a couple more posts. Yes, the party is jumping, looking like the wobble is going on down here at the pool. Everybody is having a good old time, baby. Yes, the vibes are right. Portia's there, Manyetta's there. I mean, we got the DJ in the building. We got all the things going on, and everybody is there pictured in happier times. Even Nene's on again, off again, alleged man. Naomi is there. I mean, this was a good old time. Sad to see where Nene and Porsha are as of today as well. But I mean, what can we do, right? We can't save everybody. So listen. So people were wondering about this post, right? Everybody was looking at this post and kind of thinking, because I see a lot of comments. Some people were saying, so Memorial Day was yesterday. Was this recent? Are they back together or what? Someone else says, wait, I knew this was a gimmick. Thank you, Simon and Porsha. Y'all cute, okay? Someone else commented and said, maybe remove this post because it's causing confusion. People think that you want Porsha back. Okay. So this post has been edited. I'm not sure what the original caption read, but it has been edited. It says Memorial Day 2023 was a memorable day with friends and family. I'm working hard and praying even harder that in 2025, my kids and I get the opportunity to celebrate again as we did here. All right, so someone else in the comments says, for those that have a comprehension problem, it's the house in the video that attention is being drawn to, not some opportunistic woman that's in the vid. The house. Bro wants his house back. Okay? Now, my question is, does this mean that Porsha now has the Costa Rica property as well? I'm trying to figure out if that's what is going on here, right? Is he saying that, I don't have access to even that house? Is that where this is going? That's what I'm trying to figure out as I'm putting the pieces of this all together. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, for real, it's a little bit confusing. I don't necessarily. I think it's so much going on with this divorce. I mean, emergency orders. You got all of these requests, and can we film here? Porsha wants to be back in the house. Which house belongs to who? Who has access to it? And where is Simon in all of this, right? So some of y'all are saying that's in Atlanta. You could tell by the trees too. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Why Black Coffee says, I read it was the Atlanta house giving Costa Rica vibes, he said. Got it. So this is the Atlanta house. So now it makes more sense why he's saying that, because the man wants access to his home, right? If this is the Atlanta house, the man wants access to the home. So this appears to be what he's saying. But the post caused confusion because it made it seem as though, or people were thinking, oh no, it is Porsha that he wants back. But it sounds like he just wants his home back. So my question then becomes, right? It seems as though Simon is physically in Dubai, right? Am I misunderstanding this? But he had mentioned something about the kids being homeless. So then, are the kids in Dubai with him or the kids elsewhere? That's what I was confused by. And I really wouldn't even ask about the kids, but he had mentioned them in the previous post. So I'm just trying to understand where they at in all of this, because he talked about them allegedly being homeless or something being displaced or something like that. So that's confusing. I personally would like for him to clear that up, but it's his life and his family. He can do what he want to do, right? So let's talk about another post that he mentioned. And I'm going to take this over to the neighborhood talk because I think we're going to look at this post in conjunction with something that was previously posted, right? So he says this. He says, I'm going to need people to stop talking about citizenship because a family member engaged unsuccessfully in relinquishing their U.S. citizenship for tax avoidance purposes. Stop throwing stones at glass houses. So my question then becomes, who is he referring to? Is he referring to a family member of Portia's who engaged unsuccessfully in giving up their US citizenship to avoid paying taxes? Okay? So in my mind, what that means is the person may have been allegedly, let me put the alleged badge up here. The person may have been allegedly, okay, trying to leave the country so that they would not have to pay taxes. Hmm. I mean, listen, I don't know anybody that wants to pay taxes, to be quite honest with you. I mean, let's just be for real here. But the other side of that is, who are you talking about? Like, I mean, if y'all gonna keep on throwing these subliminals, I mean, just say what you got to say, please. Because I am tired of having to play all the guessing games, right? I don't and listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going on because I think this is in reference to, as the neighborhood talk pointed out, they point back to this post where Simon congratulated his good sis, Shamia Morton. So happy for you. Brother Gerald has excellent taste in fine automobile. Looking forward to watching the only cast member with a Rolls Royce. So now we know that there are several cast members with Rolls Royces, okay? As we didn't clearly seen. But Porsha had then commented and clapped back and said, Simon, don't forget a debt-free husband who is a U.S. citizen. My bestie is winning. Welcome to Real Housewives of Atlanta, Queen Mumby. Okay? So it sounds like he's clapping back at Porsha in some subtle way, but we're not quite sure on who he is referencing. Someone, Zawe says he's always talking in riddles. I mean, I'm just, let's put a name on it. Say my name, say my name. Okay. That's what I want to know. I want to know who you're talking about. I really do. Who do y'all think in the comment section down below? Because that's a pretty big accusation. Stacy Washington says, "Take us out the group chat." I mean, what's interesting is when Real Housewives of Atlanta comes back on, y'all, we're gonna be watching a show, but the real show is happening right now. So I'm wondering what they're gonna be filming. You know what I'm saying? What are they really going to be filming? Please let us know what y'all think they're gonna have, because I just don't know. Like, I mean, obviously there's gonna be drama with the new ladies and whatnot, and we'll get to know them. But in terms of this story with Porsha and Simon, I feel like the show is gonna be so behind the eight ball by the time it comes out. Ain't no telling what is gonna have happen next, because the way these two are going at it with each other, it sounds like it's really, really about to get extra messy. And I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think they should probably take these things offline. But I do get the sense that Simon does like to kind of troll. So I don't think that we'll be getting a break from any of this anytime soon. Okay. And he a grown man, he can do what he want to do. All right, so look, let's talk about the Love and Marriage DC podcast that occurred in DC a couple of weeks ago. Mother's Day weekend it was. All right, so listen, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know this right off the bat. First things first. This was completely wild. Okay, this was wild. Definitely go out and support Carlos on his Reality with the King podcast tour live. But let me tell y'all something. The DC crowd, y'all, the DC crowd was super lit. Okay. When I tell y'all it was lit, like, I mean, it was lit like Jerry Springer show lit. Okay. When I tell you, it was lit like Jerry Springer show. Y'all remember what Jerry Springer was like. And there was a couple of moments where I thought we was about to have some Jerry Springer likes going on. Okay. I mean, the crowd was lit and rowdy from the get-go. So, I first got there, it was like, a nice, like, the vibes was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, the DJ Tracy Steele was spinning the tunes, on deck and whatnot. And so I was like, sitting in the cut, off to the side in the back, kind of chilling, just kind of like, I'm ready to see what's about to go down. Now, to be quite honest with you, I kind of knew off the rip. And I think I even said it. When I saw that the three of them were going to be on that podcast together, I knew that it was going to be explosive on that stage. I knew it. I knew it. I had talked to most of the cast, either in interviews or at least, yeah, mostly in interviews. And I just kind of got the sense that so much was unsettled, right? Especially since the season had just kind of finished and everybody was really kind of up in arms about a lot of things. So I was like, how is this going to go down? Right. But I'm also like, it's Mother's Day. So maybe, I don't know what's going to happen. Right. So sitting there, Carlos comes out, he introduces the ladies and whatnot. And right off the rip, the audience is like going, well, I don't want to say the entire audience because that's not true. There were members of the audience who were really, really going in on Ashley. So much to the point where I actually really felt bad for her because I did feel like it just felt like, again, it was rowdy, okay? And it might have been because, people was having they might have been drinking. I really don't know. But all I know was that they were not feeling her. Okay. Oh, several members of the audience were really not feeling her. And she really had to, she had to check a couple of people a couple of times. It got to the point where even Carlos had to check a couple of people a couple of times. Okay. Like for real. Like we got to be able to at least talk. Okay. Because you don't want it to be a situation where, because they're also recording it, y'all. So think about it from that perspective too, right? They're recording it. So they're asking people to not have their phones out because, he wants to also put this out in a way that you guys can see it if you weren't able to be in the building, right? And so, you kind of felt like, this is going to be pretty spicy. I knew that right off. You could feel the energy in the room, right? So he starts off asking them about how a lot about how they felt like the second season might have been different. He asked if the audience liked the second season better or the first season better. The cast talked about how, people felt like the first season was a little bit boring because they felt like everybody was kind of really getting along and it was definitely more into the marriage aspect. But the way the crowd, sort of cheered for the second season, it seemed like more of the crowd seemed to enjoy the second season more, which definitely had more in the way of drama, right? So I think that for the cast, I think this was definitely true for probably, at least I know Joy said this. Joy felt like the drama with the ladies overshadowed the personal stories. Let me know, did y'all feel like that? Or not? You know what I'm saying? Let me know. Okay. Shout out to the people in the chat, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes. So to me, I felt like, I don't know. Like I said, I did feel bad for Ashley because I felt like she really had to put up her armor. You know what I'm saying? To kind of sit there. There were a lot of people in the audience who I felt like were on Joy's side with the way that they were cheering for her. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I felt like the joy that we saw at this podcast stop was much different than the joy that we saw on the screen, right? This was a joy that was definitely activated, okay? She was completely activated. And when I say activated, I mean she definitely seemed more engaged, okay? Definitely more engaged, definitely had a lot more to say in this arena. And maybe it was because she felt the support of the crowd. Maybe she just had been holding it in. I really don't know. But I felt kind of like, okay, now Joy, I need this Joy to show up next season, right? Because if you're going to bring all of this energy, it definitely was more interesting than waiting until the end of the season to see this huge moment between, well, really of her on camera at the reunion. We see that moment where she's taping that confessional talking about how she was unhappy. That was huge for her, right? So we get a taste of, where her and Clifton are today, and they are in a much better space. He brought her flowers and champagne or prosecco, I think, on the stage or whatever. And really, honestly, if I thought I felt bad for Ashley, I think the person that probably got it the worst, now that I reflect back on it, was Carmen. Okay. Because Joy was like, basically every time somebody mentioned Carmen's name, what do y'all do? And she was like, boo. I was like, oh, oh. I was like, in my mind, I was like, I started to text Carmen. I was like, girl, are you here? But I didn't think about it no more beyond the moment, because I was kind of like, what is about to happen? Again, I felt like I was on edge. I was on edge. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I was on the edge. I was dangling by my pinky. Okay. I was dangling on the edge by my pinky. Okay. By my pinky, my fingernail. All right. So I'm sitting there like, because again, the energy is getting a bit like it's when I say this to y'all all the time. When y'all feel like you watching a scene on TV and the energy keeps going up, if the energy keeps going up, it is about to go down. Okay. So they continue on, Carmen is getting booed to the heavens. All right. And then we get to this moment where, Carlos talks to the ladies and asks if there's anything that they regret, right? So Joy, regrets nothing. She feels like everything she did was authentic for her. She reacted to situations how she felt like she would normally react. She felt like if y'all thought that she was defensive, is because she was always in scenes where people were coming at her. And then we get this moment with Arena. Now, this was about to be a big moment right here, because Orena turns to Ashley and she was like, you know what? I do regret something. I regret saying something about Ashley's mothering at the reunion, right? So Ashley was like, well, hold on for a second. Hold on, okay? Because we need to really talk about all the things that were said, right? So I felt like in that moment, I ain't gonna lie, okay? I felt like, ooh, we was almost at the resolution. I felt like Arena was about to apologize. We about to go into season 3 or, whatever this next season is. And Ashley was like, not on my watch, okay? And so at that point, they kind of start going back and forth about something that, Jamie going off on Ashley on Instagram. And then I guess the young lady that was staying with Ashley had said or had allegedly tweeted about, the Tylers and whatnot. I don't really know, because honestly, y'all, I'm not on Twitter like that. Like, I have a Twitter account, but I don't really go on there like that. I feel like Twitter can be a dark, deep, dangerous cesspool of, I don't know what happens there. It's like the wild, wild west. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just stay away from it. So at the end of the day, they continue to argue about that. And so then Jamie comes up on the stage. So Jamie comes up on the stage and Jamie is like, look, okay, Ashley, you got to let some of this stuff go. Now, I felt in my spirit, like, I think he meant well, right? It's like one of those moments where I felt like, there was probably a push toward resolving some of these things so that they can move forward as a cast for a new season, right? So I felt like he probably went on the stage with that in mind, thinking that, okay, we can have this conversation. But from where Ashley was sitting, I have to say that I think that for her, it's now not only is the audience coming at her, not only is Joy kind of throwing like subtle shots her way, and they were kind of going back and forth with each other, and little tit for tat moments up before that. Then she's going at it with Arena. Then she had Jamie come on the stage. And I think in that moment, I felt like all her defenses went up. And I can't really say that I blame her, because I think that the energy was so high that you really felt like it was about to explode, right? Because at that point, she's not receiving it well, right? So then Carlos kind of gets up or whatever, and then I see Quick come to the stage, because Quick, at this point, he's not about to let his wife be up on stage. You know what I'm saying? She's already getting it from the audience, then she's getting it from Joy, then Arena, then Jamie. So Quick is basically, he gets up on stage, and I did feel like Quick was trying to make this into a, like, yo, we are better than this. Like, we can't go down this path. Like, I did not get on this reality TV show to be arguing with you on Twitter, and definitely not for you to be arguing with my wife, because we were good, right? We were at a point where we were good. So we can't let all of this stuff get in the way of that. And I will say, listen, there's a fine line. Let's talk about it for real, for real. Let's really talk about it. For me, there is a fine line between, you want to promote the show on Twitter, right? And you want to promote the show when the clips come out, and you want to, either live tweet to continue the audience engagement, to let people know that the show is on. But I think that there's also a situation or a space where some casts will react on Twitter, and then it becomes it snowballs into something much bigger, right? Speak with your girl. Marcella says, yes, I could feel the energy in the crowd. It was tension that you could cut with a knife. Team Joy and Arena. Thank you, Marcella, so much for the super chat. It was so good to see you that night. But speak with your girl Marcella. Yes, Marcella, you are correct. The energy was so thick. It was so tense. It was live, it was lit, but it was also very, very tense. And if you were there, I don't know how y'all felt. If you were like me, I was on the edge of my seat thinking to myself, okay, this is really about to go down right here. This is really about to go down, right? And again, thank you for that super chat, Marcella. We really, really appreciate it. But at that point, when Quick gets up on stage, I see Clifton at the edge of the stage, and he's taking off his blazer. At least from what it looked like from my vantage point. My thought was, honestly, y'all, I was like, if Clifton gets on this stage, I don't think it's going to be good. And it's no disrespect to Clifton, but I just felt like if you added one more person to the stage, it was going to explode. That's how I felt, for real. I actually felt like, and to be honest with you, I was like, because at this point, you don't see it in the you see it in the video on the podcast, but I'm telling you, like, if you were in the room, like, security is up on stage at this point, like, and people are moving around and being shuffled. Now the ladies stay seated I think they really do stay seated for the most part during that like the chaos of it all. So that was, the ladies were pretty much safe and secure, although Joy and Ashley were going at it with each other from around Arena, right? But Carlos does something that I felt like was really, really, he did a really good job of pulling it back around when he reminded them that it was Mother's Day, and he chose to celebrate Mother's Day, having lost his own mom. And I think that really brought everybody back around to why we were there. That's what it felt like to me. And I think that when he was able to really wrangle that point, like when he was able to drive that point home, that is when, and the men were escorted off the stage. And here's the thing. I feel two ways about it, because people feel like the men should some people feel like the men should stay out of the women's business. Some people feel like, well, the men are cast on this show, so if everybody should be able to talk to everybody. I do think that in that moment, I think that the men needed to get off the stage at that moment, right? Mostly because I did also think that if the women can resolve their issues, then the men would have less issues. Personally, I feel like if the women can like fix it, then I think that the men, they don't really have no real issues with each other outside of defending their wives. I mean, really, to be honest with you. So when Carlos brought it back to the core of the issues, Arena was able to articulate her apology. Ashley really wanted to drive home her point about a couple of things, it felt like. One, especially as I rewatched it, she really wanted to reiterate, I want to know exactly what you're apologizing for, because I have to be very specific when I apologize to you guys. That's what I got from it, because when I was there in the moment, I was like, girl, if you don't just accept this apology so we can move on. But when I watched it again, I kind of got a different impression. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You want the apology matrix to be equitable around the board, right? But I think in that moment, just to like get everybody back on track, I love that Arena just simply said, you know what, let's just move on. Like, I don't want to fight no more. Like, I don't have it in me. And really it became a thing where it was really on at the front of the stage. Ashley, Carlos had, basically asked Ashley and Arena to hug. So they hugged it out, they got up, and they really had a conversation in front of the audience about just their friendship and where things went wrong and where things could have been better. And in that moment, it kind of felt like, okay, Joy, this ain't for you, okay? Because Ashley was like, me and Arena started on this show together, right? So let us work this out first without anybody else's input. But it did feel like, ooh, that was shade. It did feel like that. So then they were able to bring the three of them around by bringing Joy into the conversation. Ashley apologized, although she made it clear that this is her 9,000th apology to Joy. And Joy really was very much like, I felt like Joy was like, listen, anything that I have said or done, like, I want it to be known right here, right now, that I apologize. Now, this was a major step forward, but Ashley was kind of like, well, I need to know what you're sorry for. And I was like, oh, girl, no. But again, if she wanted to make the apology matrix equitable, I get it, right? So finally, they're able to bring it back around, which you guys do get to see, okay? You see it, but I'm telling you, it's a difference when you're on that roller coaster in the room. That's all I can tell you. And randomly, Miss Wanda is there, okay? I have no idea why she was there, but I mean, it was like the most random surprise. Like, I was like, is that Wanda J. Blige in the building? Yes, Miss Wanda J. Blige was in the building down in DC at the Howard Theater. It was so random. It was so random. Okay. But the ladies were able to bring it back around. All three of them hugged, right? Now here's the thing. Let's have a real, okay, honest, in-depth recap of that moment for me. I think that there's the spirit of camaraderie so that we can do what we need to do as a cast and get back on the good foot. And then there's still the reality of hurt feelings and, still being sore from the wounds that, perhaps were inflicted by words on Twitter and, things that happened that day. So I don't know where things stand with anybody at this moment, to be honest with you. I, personally, wanted to check in with Ashley just to make sure she was okay, because I did realize that there was a lot for her, especially from the crowd perspective. And shout out to Arena for purchasing a copy of my book. She posted that on Instagram, so that was really sweet of her. And we had tried to schedule an interview with Joy, but I think we just ran out of time in terms of like, I think they all went on vacation. And of course, this podcast was after that vacation, but we just never really did get a chance to circle back. So I don't really know where things stand with the cast now. But I will say that the podcast I mean, based on what we can see, that some of that footage could possibly be used as an entryway for the next season to really show what has happened from the reunion to the podcast heading into the season, and if we really will see these people make up, right? So it was good. I can't tell you that it was good. If you haven't watched it for yourself, definitely check it out. It is on YouTube right now. The next stop I think that he has is with Teresa. I'll be interested to see that. I don't know that the crowd will be as spicy. I don't know that any crowd will be as spicy as the crowd in DC. I mean, but DC got that flavor, so I mean, it is what it is, right? But it would now see it would be different if you had Teresa and Melissa or Teresa and Margaret in the building at the same time. Then that crowd would be. I would be scared of that crowd too. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That crowd would be off the chain. Okay. So that is the recap from somebody who was there. All right. I wish I could have been able to talk to y'all about it the following day because my feelings about it, I think immediately afterwards was shock, awe, and concern. But they were able to pull it around at the end, and I felt like they closed out, they closed the loop on season two's drama. Okay. So that's what we are with Love and Marriage DC. We have an update on the Simon and Porsha of it all. Of course, that is a daily situation. If you guys, let me know in the chatterization, do you guys prefer a live? Let me know. I mean, because I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm trying to get a better workflow with my video content so that it makes a lot more sense with some of the other business endeavors that I'm trying to accomplish. So if you like this, let me know in the chatterization if you guys, like the lives. I like lives because I get the chance to kind of like see what you got to say in real time, and that is always fun for me. And it feels like I'm not doing this by myself, right? Humble Meek says always love alive. Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate it. Amy says, yes, live. Miss you being live. I love a good live. Love you too, Miss Van. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if y'all feeling it, we'll try to do this. I want to try to keep a consistent schedule, so I'm trying to figure out what time it'll be at. I do like this time. This time really feels good right now because I really wasn't rushed to get it done, and it allowed time for some news to kind of percolate. But I also like this idea of doing it early in the day. Do y'all prefer noon or would you prefer like 9 a.m.? See, 9 a.m. feel like pressure to me. Noon feels good, right? You know what I'm saying? Noon feels good to me. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank y'all. I love a good scent. Lunchtime lives. Thank you so much. Noon. Noon. A lot of people saying noon is good. Lunch break. Yes. Okay. Little lunchtime tea. Yes. I like a little lunchtime tea. Hey, you're up in the building. Okay. Okay. So a lot of people are saying noon. Noon. Yo, this is I feel you on this. Noon. I can't be interested in other folks' business too early in the morning. I feel you on that. I felt that. All right, y'all. So listen, shout out to everybody in the chatterization. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, tapping in, and being turned on as we get into this news for the day. If you guys are not already doing so, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and we're going to be doing LinkedIn as well. We're doing a lot of travel content on a lot of those other platforms. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Like the video. Of course, you guys know the book is already out. We'll do book promo. We also have 4 more spots available for the Bali trip. So be sure to tune in to any news about that as well. And then I have a meeting with them to plan our next trip. I am thinking either Zanzibar, I'm thinking Croatia, I'm thinking Crete, Greece. I'm also thinking Colombia, And there's Thailand that's also on the list. So if you guys have suggestions on places that you would love to go to, also looking at South Africa, but I may have to do that in a different way because I want to make sure that the accommodations are always 4 to 5 star. And, you know, I just want to make sure y'all feel comfortable where you staying at, right? So if you haven't already, you know, booked your trip to Bali with us for September 25th through October the 1st, make sure you guys do so. Otherwise, I love y'all, and I will, of course, catch you in the next video.